Welcome, students, to my lecture. If you are ready, let's begin. Tonight I want to bring your attention to the most essential, the most decisive element in the entire process of manifestation, the state you occupy. You do not manifest what you want. You do not manifest what you hope for. You manifest the state you consistently return to, the state you emotionally dwell in, the state that feels most like home. It is not desire that creates reality. It is the state behind the desire. Everything you will ever experience already exists as a state of consciousness. There is a state where you are wealthy. There is a state where you are fulfilled. There is a state where you are loved. There is a state where you are free, confident, healthy, wise, creative, inspired. And there is a state where you are lacking, anxious, doubtful, rejected, or forgotten. These states are not created by you. They exist eternally. You simply enter them. And when you enter them, they clothe you, they animate you, they think through you, and the world reveals their nature through your experience. The great misunderstanding is that people believe states are formed by their circumstances, when in truth circumstances are formed by states. A man says, I am sad because of what happened, but the truth is he interprets what happened through the state of sadness. Another man in the state of confidence meets the same event and rises above it. A woman in the state of love experiences the world entirely differently from the woman in the state of fear. And yet both are moving through the same physical environment. It is not the world that changes, the state changes, and the world reflects the state. Let us explore this with a degree of clarity that leaves no room for doubt. The state you currently occupy is the only reason your world looks the way it does. And the moment you move into a new state, your world must rearrange itself to reflect that new state. This is not philosophy. This is law. And when you understand this law, you become the master of your destiny. But you cannot enter a new state intellectually. You cannot think your way into a state. You cannot argue yourself into it. You enter a state through feeling, through accepting it as your reality, through surrendering to its truth, through allowing it to dominate your mood, your reactions, and your inner speech. Your state is your atmosphere. It is the emotional climate you carry with you everywhere you go. Others can feel it before you speak a word. Every event responds to it without exception. Your state determines what you notice, how you interpret experiences, what opportunities you perceive, what actions you take, and how others treat you. You have walked into rooms where the air felt heavy or tense without anyone needing to speak. That heaviness is the collective state. You have also walked into rooms where you felt uplifted, welcomed, or inspired. That too is the atmosphere of a state. The world reflects the state of consciousness of the one who enters it. Now consider this. You enter states all the time without knowing it. You enter the state of frustration and suddenly everything annoys you. The smallest inconvenience becomes unbearable. Someone speaks to you kindly and you misinterpret it because the frustrated state colors your perception. You enter the state of gratitude and suddenly everything seems bright, hopeful, harmonious. What was overlooked becomes precious. What was ordinary becomes beautiful. You are not fixed in any state unless you choose to be. States are fluid. You move through them as easily as walking from one room to another. But because you move unconsciously, you believe the state is imposed upon you. Tonight I want you to understand that you can enter any state deliberately. You can choose your inner atmosphere. You can decide who you are going to be, and the world will conform to that choice. Let me illustrate the nature of states through a simple example. Imagine a man who wants wealth. He reads books on investing, he studies markets, he works long hours, yet his inner state is one of lack. He feels unworthy. He feels financially insecure. He feels as though money is scarce. And because he occupies that state, everything he does, no matter how strategic, is influenced by the vibration of lack. He will make decisions from fear. He will miss opportunities because he expects loss. He will attract situations that confirm his belief in scarcity. Now imagine another man who occupies the state of abundance. He may not have $1 in his pocket at the moment, but inwardly he feels himself to be wealthy. He feels secure. He feels confident. He feels supported by life. His mood is expansive. Because he occupies the state of abundance, his actions, words, decisions, and perceptions align with abundance. He sees opportunities where others see risk. He attracts people who open doors. He behaves as one who already has enough, and life responds accordingly. It is not the money that creates the state creates the money. This is why you must never ask, how will my desire come? How is irrelevant to the state. The state knows how. The state will think thoughts, inspire actions, generate opportunities, and orchestrate events that match its nature. You do not create the bridge. The state creates the bridge. Your only task is to remain loyal to the state you desire. Let us consider another example, the state of love. A woman desires a relationship, but she occupies the state of being unnoticed, unwanted, or unchosen. She may meet someone wonderful, but her state will distort the interaction. She will interpret neutral actions as rejection. She will doubt the sincerity of affection. She will anticipate abandonment and therefore behave in ways that bring it about. Another woman occupies the state of being loved. Even without a relationship, she feels valued, chosen, and cherished. The state radiates through her words, her posture, her energy. And because she occupies the state of being loved, she attracts people who reflect that assumption, or her current relationships transform to match it. The relationship is not the source of the feeling. The feeling is the source of the relationship. Let us take the state of health. A man who sees himself as fragile will interpret every sensation as a threat. He will fear illness. He will talk about symptoms. He will anticipate decline. Because he occupies the state of fragility, his body responds. Another man may have the same symptoms, but he occupies the state of health. His inner speech is strong. His mood is resilient. His expectation is vitality, and his body responds accordingly. The state is the healer. The state is the sustainer. The state is the cause. Now let us take this deeper. Every state contains its own behavior. When you enter the state of confidence, you do not need to rehearse confidence. You act confidently because you are in its atmosphere. When you enter the state of wealth, you do not need to learn how wealthy people behave. The state behaves through you. When you enter the state of love, you do not need to force affection or kindness. Those qualities flow naturally because they belong to the state. This is why techniques only work when they lead you into a state. Visualization, affirmation, scripting, all of them are simply tools for entering the desired atmosphere. Once you are in the state, the technique is no longer necessary. The state takes over. It thinks for you. It chooses for you. It speaks to you. Let us explore the most important truth. You enter a state by feeling it. And you feel it by imagining what you would feel if your desire were already fulfilled. Not what you would do, not what you would say, but what you would feel. Feeling is the doorway. Feeling is the key. Feeling is the path. To feel a desire fulfilled is to step into the state. Once you are in the state, dwell in it. Return to it. Saturate yourself with the mood. Do not look for evidence. Do not check the outer world. The outer world lags behind the inner world. It is the shadow, not the substance. The moment you change state, your world begins to change, though you may not notice it immediately. The old state may still echo for a while, but it has no life of its own. If you do not return to it, it dies. The new state, if sustained, will harden into fact. Let us now speak of something subtle but transformative. You cannot serve two states at once. You cannot desire wealth and dwell in lack. You cannot desire love and dwell in unworthiness. You cannot desire success and dwell in self-doubt. The state must be singular. You must choose the state of the wish fulfilled and refuse the emotional pull of the old self. This refusal is not resistance. It is simply a lack of interest. When an old state offers you its familiar thoughts, it is too difficult, this will never happen, nothing has changed yet, you do not fight them. You do not argue. You simply withdraw your attention and return to the new state. Your attention is what gives the state life. Withdrawal attention, and the state dissolves. Pour attention into a new state, and it grows stronger. Let us also explore the idea of permeability. States influence each other when you allow your attention to drift. If you look at the world and react to what you see, you begin to move back into the old state. But if you look at the world through the eyes of the new state, the world must conform. Reactions reveal your state. If you react with fear, doubt, or frustration, you have momentarily slipped out of the state of fulfillment. If you react with calm, detachment, confidence, or gratitude, you are dwelling in the desired state. Your reactions matter more than you realize, for reactions are simply unconscious admissions of the state you occupy. Now let me give you something practical. If you want to enter a state quickly, close your eyes and imagine the simplest scene that implies your desire is fulfilled. Not a complex story, a simple scene, a handshake, a congratulation, a loving embrace, a quiet knowing, a moment of relief. And feel the reality of that moment. Feel it as though it has already happened. Let your body respond. Let your breath change. Let your mood shift. That shift is the doorway. The moment you feel the atmosphere of the new state, you have entered it. Then carry that feeling with you. Not rigidly, not fearfully, but naturally, as though it were the most familiar thing in the world. And now let us deepen this idea. The state is not something you imagine once a day. It is the background feeling you return to throughout the day. If you drift, return. If you doubt, return. If you fear, return. The returning is the practice. The returning is the transformation. The returning is the manifestation. You are not struggling to make the desire real. You are simply learning to dwell in the version of yourself who already has it. Every state is waiting for your acceptance. Your desire is not distant. It is here, in a dimension of consciousness, asking only that you step into its feeling. In the second half of this lecture, we will explore how to maintain the state, how to dissolve competing states, how to use reactions as indicators, and how to let the state guide your behavior and shape your world effortlessly. Let us continue and go even deeper into the mystery of states. For once you understand this completely, you will never again feel powerless, never again wonder why something is not manifesting. Never again believe that the world has authority over you. For the moment you understand states, you understand that you are the one making and unmaking your world by the state you choose to inhabit. The state is not an emotion alone. It is the total orientation of your inner being. It is the way you expect life to unfold. It is the role you assign to yourself in the great drama of existence. And every role has its own script, its own relationships, its own opportunities, its own challenges, its own behaviors, and its own destiny. There is a version of you living in every possible state right now. The dangerous motto, a version of you that fails, a version that succeeds, a version that is loved deeply, a version that feels unworthy, a version that thrives financially, a version that struggles constantly, a version that walks with confidence, a version that trembles with insecurity. Each version is fully formed, fully alive in consciousness, and you enter that version by accepting its feeling as your own. The moment you accept the feeling of the new version, you have entered a state, and the outer world must reshape itself to match the identity you now wear. Do not think you need to fix problems in the ill state. There is nothing to fix in the ill state. There is only the choice to leave it. The ill state dissolves by lack of attention. A room grows dark, not because you remove the darkness, but because you introduce the light. In the same way, the ill state disappears not because you fight it, but because you cease to feed it with attention, emotion, and inner dialogue. Let us now examine the most subtle and powerful sign of which state you inhabit, your reactions. Reactions reveal everything. You may believe you are in the state of abundance, but if a bill arrives and you feel fear, the reaction shows that the state of lack is still active. You may believe you are in the state of love, but if someone withdraws briefly and you feel panic, the reaction shows the state of insecurity remains. Reactions tell the truth about your inner dwelling place. There is no need to condemn yourself for these reactions. They are not failures, they are indicators. They show you precisely where you stand, so you may consciously return to the desired state. Reactions are simply invitations to re-enter the state of the wish fulfilled. When you react from the old state, do not analyze it, do not fight it, do not shame yourself. Simply pause, acknowledge the reaction, and return to the feeling of the new state. The returning is what matters. Every return weakens the old identity and strengthens the new one. Let us consider the role of inner conversations in maintaining the state. Once you have entered the new state, the most effective way to remain in it is to let the inner voice of that state speak through you. The confident state speaks with assurance. The wealthy state speaks with ease. The loved state speaks with tenderness. The healthy state speaks with vitality. If your inner voice contradicts the state you wish to occupy, you will drift back into the old identity. So the task is not to force yourself into the new state, but simply to adopt the inner tone that belongs to it. Tone is more powerful than words. A single sentence spoken inwardly with the right tone can shift your entire consciousness. Let us look at an example. Man desires success, but inwardly says, I hope this works. The tone is uncertainty. That tone belongs to the state of doubt. But if he says inwardly, of course this works, how could it not? The tone belongs to the state of assured success. And the moment the tone changes, the state changes. Now let us speak of the most overlooked aspect of states, the way they influence your behavior without conscious effort. When you are in the state of confidence, you do not need to think about how to behave confidently. Your posture changes naturally. Your decisions become decisive. Your presence strengthens. You speak with clarity, you walk with purpose. You do not force these actions, they arise spontaneously because they are the natural expression of the state. When you are in the state of love, you do not need to force kindness or affection. It flows effortlessly because the state is generating it. When you are in the state of wealth, you do not need to pretend to be wealthy. Your choices, your attitude, your expectations, your opportunities all reflect abundance without effort. The state does the work. The state carries the behavior. The state is the cause. This is why attempting to change behavior without changing the state is futile. Behavior is an effect. If you try to behave confidently while remaining in the state of insecurity, the behavior will feel forced, fragile, artificial. But if you enter the state of confidence first, the behavior becomes effortless. The world responds not to your forced actions, but to the state from which those actions arise. Let us now turn to something extremely important, the dissolving of competing states. You may enter the state of abundance, but if you continue to revisit the state of lack, even briefly, the two states will conflict. The stronger one will dominate your experience. Do not worry if the old state visits you occasionally. Simply do not dwell there. Do not rehearse the thoughts that belong to it. Do not identify with the feelings that arise within it. Notice them, and then return to the desired state. If a doubt arises, what if this does not work? Do not answer the doubt. Do not engage with it. The doubt belongs to the old state. Simply return to the feeling of the fulfilled desire. That is all that is required. The old state will wither from neglect. The new state will strengthen with attention. Your attention is the currency of creation. Whatever you pay attention to becomes your reality. Pay attention to the state of fulfillment, and fulfillment becomes inevitable. Let us consider the nature of feeling in even greater depth. Many believe they must feel intense emotion, but emotion is not necessary. What is necessary is acceptance, a quiet, gentle knowing that the desire is already yours. A mild but steady shift in your inner atmosphere, a soft but unmistakable sense of, this is who I am now. This quiet acceptance is far more powerful than bursts of enthusiasm. Emotions rise and fall, feelings come and go, but acceptance endures. And it is acceptance that marks the true entrance into a state. If you accept that you are wealthy, you have entered the state. If you accept that you are loved, you have entered the state. If you accept that you are healthy, you have entered the state. This acceptance is the foundation upon which the state rests. There will come a moment when the new state no longer feels like something you are imagining. It feels like something you are remembering. It feels like a truth you always knew. When that moment arrives, the state has taken root. And shortly after, the outer world will reveal what the inner world has already accepted. Now let us examine how states influence your perception of reality. Two people may stand side by side, looking at the same situation, and one sees opportunity while the other sees danger. One sees potential while the other sees limitation. One sees blessing while the other sees burden. The difference is not in the situation, but in the state from which each person perceives it. The state is the lens through which you interpret life. If you change the state, you change the meaning of every event. A man in the state of abundance sees an unexpected bill as easily handled. A man in the state of lack sees the same bill as a threat. A woman in the state of love interprets a partner's silence as rest or reflection. A woman in the state of insecurity interprets the same silence as rejection. You are not reacting to the world, you are reacting to the state you are in. Let us now explore how states guide action. When you occupy the state of the wish fulfilled, you do not need to force decisions. The state will move you. It will inspire ideas. It will nudge you. It will bring to your attention things you once overlooked. A thought will arise, call this person, or go to this place, or look into this opportunity. These are not random impulses. They are the state expressing itself through you. The state draws what belongs to it. The state arranges the bridge of incidents without your conscious involvement. You may believe you are simply acting on intuition, but intuition is the voice of the state. Now let us speak of something beautiful and liberating. The state does not require time to manifest. Time is irrelevant to the state. Time is simply the unfolding of the state into visibility. The manifestation was complete the moment you entered the state. The physical world is merely catching up. If you understand this, you will never again worry about how long a manifestation takes. The moment you feel the state, the manifestation is yours. You need only remain loyal to the feeling, and the world will reveal the completed fact in its own perfect sequence. Let us go even deeper. You are not trying to manifest things, you are manifesting versions of yourself. Everything you desire already belongs to a version of you that exists now as a state. If you want wealth, you are really wanting the version of yourself who lives in abundance. If you want love, you are wanting the version of yourself who knows they are cherished. If you want success, you are wanting the version of yourself who naturally succeeds. Manifestation is the art of becoming the version of yourself who already has the desire. And you become that version by entering its state. This is why you must not ask, how will it come? That question belongs to the old identity. The new identity already has the desire. It does not ask how. It simply accepts. The state contains everything it needs. It contains the bridge, the opportunities, the relationships, the ideas, the timing, the sequence, the behavior, the emotions. You need only step into the state and remain there. Now let us conclude with the most important realization you can ever have. You are not the states you enter. You are the one who chooses them. You are the awareness behind all states. States rise in you, fall in you, appear in you, dissolve in you, but you remain the chooser, the witness, the creator. When you know this, you are free. You are not bound by past states. You are not defined by old identities. You are not limited by your history. You can step into any state you desire, and the world will mirror that choice. Tonight, before you sleep, choose your state. Enter it through feeling. Accept it as true. Let it become your atmosphere. And as you drift into sleep, surrender completely to the identity of the wish fulfilled. The world will rearrange itself to reflect who you have chosen to be. Good night.